Chapter 18. A First Glimpse Beyond. From the very moment we are born, we are taught that me and you is not the same thing. But a baby doesn't know these things. To him, he and his mama are not two separate things. We say that because babies haven't learned yet. Next, we spend the rest of our life trying to find someone with whom we can feel one again. Who knows? Maybe the baby had it right after all. Just imagine, Aniola said. Just imagine that your body is but one of the many bodies you have. Not as if you would have other bodies walking around somewhere else. No, just imagine you have another body, sort of within your body of flesh and blood. Shaoni's attention was caught. A body inside my body? Huh? There's no space. Where then would it be? Well, Aniola said, imagine this body to be made of a much finer structure than your body of flesh and blood. So fine that you cannot see it with your eyes. So fine that it can easily live in the same place as your physical body without bothering it whatsoever. Shaoni took a quick look at the wizard. What do you mean? He said. My whole body is filled up with lots of things, and there is no space left anywhere. Only on the physical level there isn't. And even there, only if that is what you want to believe yourself. Maybe there is a way I can explain it to you. Take a piece of cloth, for instance. You cannot walk through it, can you? Yet when the wind blows, it will blow through the cloth without even tearing it. That's different. There are holes in the cloth. Small holes maybe, but still, holes. That is true indeed. But how to solve this one, then? Take the light of the sun. If the light hits a window, it will shine right through it and light up the room on the other side. Yet there are no holes in the window. Huh? Said the boy, sort of suspicious of where the wizard was leading him to. Maybe sunlight can shine through the glass, but it cannot shine through my body. Shaoni felt pretty proud about himself for having come up with this answer. The wizard, however, wasn't so impressed. So by now, you have accepted that wind can blow through cloth, but not through glass, and sunshine can pass through glass, but not through your body. Now why wouldn't there be something of an even finer structure that could pass through your body? Huh? That wasn't fair. Now all of a sudden he had to find the answer himself. You give me an example then, Shaoni muttered inside, but decided not to say it out loud. Because I think there is no place, he said instead. Well, just imagine a radio wave then, the wizard went on. It passes through the air, walls, concrete even, never to harm any of them, yet doesn't lose its own essence. These radio waves pass through your body too, but have you ever felt it? No, Shaoni admitted. What I am trying to tell you, my boy, is that there is more than enough space in your body, more than enough space for other things to pass through it, or to just be there at the same time. And it is not because you cannot feel or see them that they are not there. Shaoni still had a hard time visualizing himself having another body living within his own, no less. Shaoni, my boy, the wizard now said, you have to stop thinking that only the things you can see with your own eyes exist. The reason why you cannot see this other body is simply because it is made of a finer structure. It vibrates at a higher frequency, and just as you cannot see a radio wave, you cannot see this body, at least not with your physical eyes. Aniola paused for a while as if he was wondering about the next thing he would say. Then, suddenly, he said, "But there are other ways to see it. Let me show you." He went over to Shaoni and gently touched his hand. As soon as the wizard's hand touched his, a shiver ran through Shaoni's body, a shiver that made every single one of his cells vibrate. It was hard to put the feeling in words. Later, Shaoni would say it felt like that time when a girl he secretly loved had accidentally touched his hand, and a shiver had gone through his whole body, except that the feeling he had now went much deeper. When the shivering had faded a little, Shaoni looked down at his hand. He saw Aniola's hand was still close to his own, and although the wizard's hand was no longer touching his, he still saw them connected. It was as if a glow originated from within the wizard's hand to stretch out in all directions. As Shaoni looked at it in surprise, he saw how everything around was now covered by a similar glow too. He saw a glow around the trees, the bushes. Even the grass seemed to be covered with some sort of blanket spread over it. Not over every single blade of grass individually, that is. Shaoni saw how the blades, standing close together, had sort of blended, as if they were connected. Then, Shaoni's attention turned back to the wizard's hand, a hand not touching his, and yet, as sudden as the vision had come, it disappeared again, and Shaoni once again saw the things as they really were. Things had gone back to normal again. Shaoni looked at the wizard. "It's sort of around it," he said. "I mean, the other body is sort of around it." "No, it's not," the wizard replied. "It's not around it. It's within. But it is wider, and as it is wider, you just saw the bits sticking out." Shaoni was thinking about this for a few seconds. "Do we all have a second body like that?" he then asked. "A second body?" the wizard replied with a smile in his eyes. "My dear boy, you have only just seen a tiny little bit of all there is to be seen, of all there really is. Do you think it ended there? Beyond what you saw, there is yet another body, and beyond that one, yet another, and another. And each of these new bodies vibrate at a higher frequency, and each of them stretches out further into the universe, up to a point where they all touch. Then further still, up to a point where they vibrate at such a high pace that you can no longer see where the one stops and the other begins. That is where you touch unity, my boy. That is where everything is one." Shaoni hardly heard a word of what the wizard just said. His mind was still with the experience he had just lived. "I can see something else," he thought, and felt pretty proud about it. "Hey!" he suddenly yelled out. "Isn't that what happened when I felt the tree? When I felt the tree, I felt as if I was wider than myself, as if I sort of blended with the tree, so to speak." "Not so to speak," the wizard replied, "but literally so." "Ha-ha!" the boy said with a sound of triumph in his voice. "So then I am a wizard too." Aniola looked at him from the side. "You always have been," he said, "but you are much more than that. You are a being of the light as well, just as we all are." Shaoni had to think about that one. A world full of light beings, not knowing it themselves. Wow, he thought, but didn't utter a word.